What up everybody, Wiser1 here with Tattoo Pro Stencils. Today we got an awesome design of a medieval dragon that we're going to learn how to do. So grab your airbrushes and let's get to work. Alright, so we're going to start out with this piece. Now, this piece is optional. I'm going to show you how to do it with it. If you want to leave it out, you totally can. You don't have to do this piece, but it looks pretty sweet. This is actually like a fire flame coming out of the dragon's mouth. So we're gonna leave it down. We know that the dragon's mouth is gonna be about right here. Okay, so this is a good spot for it, and just gonna start off here where it would come out of the mouth, and work my way along the edge of the fire shape. You'll notice how the air is just kind of holding it down. I do that sometimes. As long as it's flat, you can do that. But mostly you want to try to hold it down. And I will continue on this way. This way. Rolling it so that I can hold it flat against every part that I'm airbrushing on. This end I'm just going to kind of let fade away. And also the same with this end here. I'm just going to kind of like let it fade away. So that's what you're going to be left with. Now we can take the dragon's head and put it in position. So this is going to be coming out kind of like the back of his throat, so we can lay that in there, and all we got to do is make sure not to spray over that. I like to hold it down and start with the lower jaw, and then I'll come around the top side of the mouth and then complete the upper jaw all over here, and then I'll continue up with the rest of the details on the face and up around the head, rolling it to the side as I need to. This big empty space I'm not going to fill in all the way, just mostly on the inside here, but I am going to go around this edge and come around here and just make sure that these details in the face are filled in. So now when I pull this away, it's going to look like the fire is coming out. Now this edge is a little bit fuzzy. I'm just going to go ahead and give it another little hit. And there we go. Now we got some depth there in the mouth. Also, this edge is a little fuzzy. Bam. Okay. Alright, so next we got the body of the dragon. We're just going to line it up with the neck here. And the only parts we're not going to spray are what's behind this. So I'm just going to take careful inventory of how this is laying. Lay my stencil down. And now I can dodge those areas while I'm filling in the details here, and I can try not to, overlap into them like so. Okay, so that's down and in there. Now I'm going to go up here to this part and do the top end of the body. Make sure all these details are filled in, making sure not to go up over into the head. Alright. After this we have the wing. The wing is going to be coming in front of all of this, okay? So we're just going to like situate this to where the wing is kind of like here and swoops over that. And I'm going to start up here at the top by the back of the neck. I'm going to go ahead and spray around the whole thing. I know a little bit is over the face, but I'm going to erase it here in a little minute, so it's okay. Got that top part. Just gonna grab it up there and continue down, and I'm gonna move more over this way, and we'll just get the rest of the outline of the wing in. There we go. So this is okay. This goes in here and it's not really seen anyway, so we'll just leave that way. Anywhere where it sprayed over into something else, I can just erase that after I'm adding in my detail. So keep that in mind. Starting at the face, I like to start out this little spike here on the nose. So it's just a really cool little nose horn or spike or whatever. So I'll put a little shadowing behind it and in front of it, just to have it standing up off the nose a little bit. I'm also going to line up this curve and add some shadow to behind the nostril there, and that also gives some shadowing into the face. And I'm also going to, sorry, wrong end, line that up and just give another little extra shadow coming out of the nostril. Here at the front of the snout, just going to add a little shadow. And then I'm going to line this up across with where the teeth go, and I'm just going to add a little bit more shadow there too. Moving down to the bottom jaw, just kind of like adding some shadow to the teeth by lining up these edges and giving it a little spray. I can also line up this curve and add a little shadow to the jawbones. Coming up here to the brow, that lines up perfectly, and I can pop that brow out. And I also want to do this. I want to like take the sections and kind of break them down like that, because reptiles have these really sectional brows. I'm just going to add a little depth there, and coming off of the brow there. There's a series of spikes here. Basically, I want to mask this off and just kind of separate these spikes. In here I want some extra shadowing, and there. Moving more this way. Here's some more areas that could use some shadowing. I'm going to separate them a little bit with my freestyle tool, and then just kind of push them back with some shadowing. This is also another spike. I'm going to add a little bit of shadow. You notice I'm spraying out very little paint. I'm just trying to add just a little bit. I don't want to go overboard. Once this is down, I can add a bevel to it. Same with these spikes here. I can just kind of half them up and put a little spike on them. Moving back this way, same thing. I just want to separate these a little bit. And then moving on to down here in the neck. First thing I want to do is use this edger to kind of like push that back a little bit, add some depth, make it look like his body's coming out this way. Then I'm going to use my freestyle tool to add shadows in the breastplates here of the dragon. Then from here I can use this little spike in the freestyle tool to add more scales wherever I need to. We're going to do that same thing down here. Got my curve, and we're just going to line up all these curves. And then we can just like add a little bevel on the side here, give it a little bit more depth. Cool. Moving on to the wing. The wing's pretty simple. We're just gonna kind of just keep shadowing it in a little bit, freestyle mostly. Some of the detail I can add to the wing will be in a later step. Alright, only other thing I'm going to do is add a little bit more shadow here and there, and then I'm ready to start my background. One of the first things I do in the background is the round moon shape. I'll go ahead and pop my moon in. I really like to put it kind of like right up above the dragon's head. It just adds a really cool effect, and I just spray lightly all the way around the circumference, and I get this moon. I'm also going to very lightly spray in some night sky. This doesn't have to be very dark at all, just dark enough to simulate. Alright. Also, on the bigger part of the sheet, there's like this little castle section. You can use that to put a castle out in the distance. Let's go ahead and start up here and just, there we go. And you don't have to just use that too. You can add, you can stack it and make little towers, and you know, it doesn't have to be just that stamped. Like, you can quite literally, you know, by flipping and using different sections, build a bigger castle if you want to, like so. That's really dark. We'll continue that out. Alright. One thing that I didn't hit with the freestyle tool that I should have was the fire here. So I'm just going to really quick pop in, just add a little bit of shadowing to my like fire here. What is this called? A fire spit? You know what it's called? Spitfire? Alright. You could also use these little clouds here. You know, add a couple little clouds in the distance in front of the moon. That always makes for a cool effect as well. Oh, another little thing I do real quick is I just spray a little bit over the moon, because we can use our swab to add some more detail. Alright. So moving on to our swabs and 99% alcohol. I got a few. I'm going to go ahead and start here at the moon. Making sure I don't have too much. I'm just going to go ahead and just randomly kind of put some craters in the moon here. Now I'm going to move on to the dragon's face. Really, this doesn't need too much, except for like maybe a little bit here in the top of the head. It could use a little bit of a highlight, and these little deals back here. The spike, definitely. There's a little spike here we can highlight here. I would definitely like take some away here and make a little sparkle in the dragon's eye. That never go wrong with that. Moving to the back of the head, you could just kind of like highlight up the back here where it starts turning into the scales on the neck. Do another little bit there, there. Moving in here into the fire spit, that definitely needs some highlighting. I'm going to switch over to the pointy side so I can get just some finer detail. Some finer detail. Down here where it kind of ends, I can kind of keep it going just a little bit further if I want. But for the most part, I'm just kind of highlighting what's already there. The end of the snout here could use a little bit. There we go. Moving on to the wing. Up here, a little bit of shine all along this thing. We'll just drag that all the way down. A little bit here, and there. Bring this up here. Like I said before, we can add a lot of this stuff in this section where these like the folds in the skin beneath the bones of the wings. Last but not least, the scales. I'll basically just highlight some of these scales I put down along the breastplates. Back up to the castle. This kind of got fuzzy, so I'm just going to kind of pick away at it a little bit and get some highlights going on. That spire up there. You know, and if you wanted to, you could even make this look like more fantasy by like kind of bringing these spires up taller, getting rid of some of the windows, you know, making more organic types of shapes and highlights in here. Instead of like more of like a brick castle, it's more like a fairy castle. I don't know, there's just like lots of different stuff you could do with it. For the night sky part, I get a brand new swab using the pointy end. To make stars, I'm just going to kind of point in and roll the swab around in random places. It's going to create the illusion of stars. Make it look really nice. There we go. Alright. So that's it. Super awesome Medieval Dragon Airbrush Tattoo done with Tattoo Pro Stencils. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the section below. Please subscribe, and most of all, have fun with your airbrushes. We'll see you next time.